07 citizens, my name is Black and welcome to my channel, Casa Black Gaming. So with a couple of articles out recently discussing how expensive Star Citizen can be, I wanted to help curious gamers understand what they can expect in the game if they do not have $48,000 to drop on the game, and what realistic expectations you can have if you only spend the bare minimum of $45 to $60. I also answer the question of if getting into Star Citizen is even right for you, and I will do my best to present the game with warts and all so you can make a better decision. Now before I get to it though, if you're a new player and depending on when you create your Star Citizen / Robert Space Industries website account, you can net yourself some free in-game credits or a ship just depending on what specials are currently running, if any, simply using my referral code flashing in the upper right hand corner of the screen or located down in the description below. Each referral also helps me work towards new rewards as well, which once you're a member, you too can refer your friends for in-game items as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and get to this guide where I aim to answer some basic questions and help new players understand what they can expect. Alright, so question 1. Do you have to be a whale to be successful? Now the answer to this is absolutely not. Almost every game around, especially live service games, have some sort of extra items that you can buy besides just the base game. There are many games that allow you to buy your way through levels or to buy gear that you do not have to earn. Some are going to be merely cosmetics. Now almost every single ship in Star Citizen that is available for real money is also available to earn in-game. The only caveat to this is that brand new release ships do not show up in the game to purchase until after 2 game updates, which is normally around 6 months. Also of note is that the subscriber items will also show up randomly in loot boxes after a couple of updates as well. So for those who like some of the subscriber items, you can expect to be able to earn those in-game as well. Now there have been a couple of time-sensitive exclusives such as the Dragonfly Star Kitten, which was a special 2017 referral bonus item that is not available to buy in-game or with real money, and there's also some other ships as well, but for the most part, almost every ship is in-game to earn up to and very affordable and not too much of a time sink in the game. Question 2. Is there a base game to buy? Now when you buy a starter package, which is what your first purchase will be, that includes the base game. Now where things can get confusing is that although you can upgrade your starter package later, so let's say you buy the Drake Cutter starter package and then you decide you want to upgrade the ship to the Titan, you still have the base game included in that package. However, if you decide to melt or sell that ship to regain those dollars back to spend on, let's say, another ship, you will lose that base game unless you buy another starter package and upgrade from it. Basically, you should always keep a starter package on your account, and even though it's okay to upgrade to more expensive ships, you still must have a ship that's linked with a starter package associated with it in some form, otherwise you will not be able to access the game. Question 3. Is Star Citizen pay to win? The straightforward answer is yes, but it's not in the way that many other games are considered pay to win. For instance, if all you own is a starter package ship and the game starts fresh, whether that be a wipe during the alpha beta phase of development or when the game launches live, someone with only a base ship versus a player who owns many ships covering many different professions will have a harder time at earning in-game money and reputation, and it's going to take you longer to earn those ships in-game. However, you cannot buy reputation or your progress. Now my own ship fleet is based on how I want to start from a fresh perspective. For example, if you're really into mining, you might want to own the Prospector outright with real money, which is a solo mining ship. So on day 1 after a wipe or when the game goes live, you can just start mining right away, and then you can save your credits from your mining earnables to purchase larger mining vessels later on. Now if ship-to-ship combat will be your thing, you might want to make the ship you own a good fighter on day 1, etc. So in this way, I do not see the game as being a similar pay to win versus being able to buy a fully leveled and geared character in another type of game that is raid ready. I see the similarities and the differences here. I think with more ships, you certainly are giving yourself more options up front as far as ways to earn credits, but you still need to go out and do the work, spend in-game credits to upgrade your ships, and do many missions to upgrade your reputation. And with more factions and even raids coming to Star Citizen, the experience and knowledge of playing is more useful than just coming in with an entire fleet of ships to choose from. Question number 4. Is the $48,000 worth it? I mean, this is kind of funny. This is pretty much the current meme, right? CIG put this insane pack of almost all their ships for sale in one large pack, and of course, it has drawn in the clowns who brought out new brighter picket signs calling the game a scam. For would-be newshounds who were just looking for that spicy new article to write to attract attention to their fading popularity, or to those content creators who needed a boost to their sagging January metrics, this was absolute gold. It is also publicity for the game. Of course, some will say that Star Citizen did not need any more negative publicity, but honestly, all of the negative publicity throughout the years has not kept the game from having record-breaking sales after record-breaking sales. The growth of the company and the game is certainly in a better state than many, which is why you see so many haters. However, my main concern and the reason for this video is that it might paint a picture that the game is not affordable for the average gamer who just wants to enjoy a space game that they simply cannot get anywhere else. As I have pointed out, the game is very playable, and for $45, sometimes even $40 when the starter packs are on sale, you can experience everything in the game without making another purchase. There is no mandatory subscription to play, so that $45 is literally all you need to enjoy the game, and for those who enjoy slowly earning, although not that slow, your way up to better ships, you could absolutely do that with no penalties or limits. Now, almost any MMO out there has a free-to-play model or a base game to purchase, but still limits how you can play unless you purchase more things like better inventory space or quicker travel items, or limits how many slots you can have. Star Citizen does none of this, and I've already explained to you how owning different ships can help you, even though that's just optional. You're not penalized for owning just a starter ship, and I've seen great pilots who are reliant on skills versus the ship they fly take out the hardest levels of bounties with just a starter ship. Now, is that the norm? No, but then again, skill is rewarded. So would I buy this game package if I had that kind of disposable income? Absolutely not, and I do not recommend anyone to do so. Now, my reason is simple. I enjoy playing the game and earning credits to buy ships. I like having carrots to chase after. Sure, there are other things that we will be able to spend in-game currency on, but there's just something satisfying to me about going after a new ship and earning that money to buy it. Question number 5. Is the game a scam? Now, here's another popular question that can scare a new player off, and my answer is no, it is not a scam, but maybe my definition of a scam is different than some. Now, to me, a scam in terms of a video game, especially one that is accepting money but not in a final, polished, finished state, is one that asks for money now, and after a time where an original ETA to play was given, has moved well beyond that time without much in the way of an explanation, or regularly scheduled updates have almost disappeared and has changed its ultimate goals, usually downgrading those goals, and where you can clearly see that progress has come to a standstill and you begin to worry that there will be nothing to play at all. That, in my eyes, is a scam. Now, a couple of examples of that scenario are Chronicles of Illyria, Camelot Unchained, and possibly even Pantheon, which kind of hurts me to say. In the case of Camelot Unchained and Pantheon, both of these games were or tried to be crowd-funded games similar to Star Citizen. Both of those games have promised so much and yet taken years to have even a test environment to play the game, and usually only on scheduled times or with reduced features and lackluster, sporadic game updates. They are also on pace to be outdated in terms of their software and engine because they have simply moved too slowly to keep up if they ever release at all. Star Citizen, on the other hand, steadily has improved their game every quarter, and you get many updates throughout each month, whether that be their seasonal, well-produced in-house shows inside Star Citizen or Star Citizen Live, or their many updates from devs on any given day. It might take months to years to see a showcase feature or ship come to life, and believe me, there are still many features that are years overdue, but we still see progress and can jump in and play at any time. As mentioned, if all you spend is the minimum, it's very easy to feel you got your money's worth playing just the game we currently have, and the fact that you can always come back later when you want there to be more progress in a feature that you're interested in will allow you to keep feeling like the game is rewarding you for your investment. And let's not forget that the game is constantly seeing its funding move up in the right direction instead of stalling out as many crowdfunded games have seen. If the game were a scam, it would have collapsed in on itself years ago. Question number 6. Is the game playable? Now, in the last section, I mentioned a couple of things that might be alarming for someone who is thinking about trying the game out. Is the game playable? Now, yes, and experiences can vary, and I'm not going to lie, it can be very frustrating at times. First and foremost, the game is not optimized and still lacking a few of its major tech milestones before stability will be better. There are tons of bugs, some of which will continue to persist and also be frustrating. There are times where you might die for no reason, like when you exit a hab or walk into an elevator only to find yourself floating off into space. Many missions are server stability reliant, so if you're not on a great server and have low FPS, it can affect anything from NPCs not being as responsive, or even stuck in walls shooting you, or just really bad desync, or being stuck in your seat, or possibly a mission objective not advancing. During any new release patch, things can go wrong and new bugs always pop up. Some can be worked around, which is where the community shines with how we help one another get through things. Sometimes your current mission progress can be lost, and that is one of the things that frustrates me the most at times. But it does not happen so much that I stop playing. Or if I feel like the servers are just bad, I just switch regions, or just take a break and come back later. When there are popular events in game where many players are invited to come play, like a free fly event, we do see performance take a hit, and you will see more things go wrong at those times. There are still many features that need to be added to the game to make things better, and with each patch we do see improvements. For instance, a server can become unresponsive, and when this happens it's called a 30K, which is just the error message number, but has been added into the terms of the game that we all use. 30Ks used to mean you lost sometimes everything from the armor and weapons on your back, and certainly your cargo you were carrying. Now though, it's barely an inconvenience, and we rarely lose cargo anymore, and with the latest tech that is now in the testing environment, they are one step closer to the servers being able to recover while we're still in game without even losing our place or anything. So we're really on the cusp of better stability, and with 2024 being the year server meshing is finally coming into the game, the stability and performance is expected to take some huge leaps forward. Now if these things sound frustrating to you and you simply do not want to deal with them, then stay away. But for those of you who play regularly, while we do not like the bugs, we find the experience and gameplay to be worth the bugs most of the time. Also, go watch some of the popular streamers such as Eurostate, Space Tomato, Verity, and many others who stream most days. They all have thousands of hours, with most being honest about the game, warts and all. Question number 7. What specs does my PC need to have? Star Citizen is a beast to run. The very first mistake I see people make when trying to run the game is not installing it on an SSD or better hard drive. You cannot put the game on anything less than this. So as an example, my daughter bought a new PC last year. She has an i7 something with a 3080 video card and 32 gigabytes of RAM. However, she installed the game on an HDD, and it would take her anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes just to log in. And her gameplay was very sluggish, with the surroundings taking a long time to load in, etc. I bought her a 1TB SSD, and she could then log in within 20 to 30 seconds with the surroundings fully rendered. Now this does not mean that you can play on a PC from 2015 so long as you have an SSD, but the SSD and at least 32 gigabytes of RAM are the two really important specs to have right. The official specs are Windows 10 or later, a quad-core Intel Sandy Bridge or better CPU, which is from around 2011 to 2013, and the early AMD Bulldozer CPUs from that same era or better, and 16 plus gigabytes of RAM. Now if you try the game on 16 gigabytes, you cannot have anything else running, and you're going to need to set a page file to help with the low RAM, and you'll also want to consider changing certain settings like quality to high, scattered object distance to low, terrain tessellation distance to low, planet volumetric clouds completely off, motion blur off, VSync to no, sharpening to 0, chromatic aberration to 0, and film grain to no. I will link a great place to do some more setting changes as well, so look for that down in the description below. Remember that of course the newer your specs, the better your time in the verse will be, as I seen some big improvements when I upgraded. Star Citizen is a game that will make you want to upgrade your PC so long as you enjoy it. Question number 8. Why have gamers spent so much money on this game? Now here's another topic that I see a lot and where I will end this video. Now who knows why people spend so much on what they spend it on, except that it gives them joy. Star Citizen does a great job at putting on the FOMO. Even though ships can be purchased in-game, when a new ship is announced, there are incentives to buying or upgrading one of your current ships to that new one. For one, if you put in new money and purchase a newly announced ship, you get it for the cheapest price it will ever be. Newly announced ships that are not direct to flyable, meaning they will come out at a later time, will always go up in price. If you get it at that low price, that means your ship will increase in value. There is also an upgrade program in place allowing players to systematically, and with 1 to 2 years of proper planning, you're able to make incremental upgrades to a more expensive ship and save a lot of money in doing so. I've seen people get ships that normally cost around $700, get them for half that when planned right. I also want to touch on another part of that $48,000 ship package that was mentioned. As a longtime MMO player, I have spent thousands across many games, and definitely at least 1,000 in a couple of games. Subscriptions, store-bought items through microtransactions, DLCs, expansions, apparel through their website. All of these are things I have bought for games, especially those I played for a few years. Now with Star Citizen, any and all of those costs are added into that concierge total. For Star Citizen, I have the subscription most months and have bought paints and a few ships, usually through incremental upgrades of $10 to $20 here and there. I have bought clothing as well. Now all of those expenses have equaled up to over $1,000, and many have been playing the game longer than I have, so they are way up higher, and for most of them this is their main game they play and have played for years. As a society, especially in America, we often tend to quickly judge or give people crap for how much they can spend on certain things. I know my wife is one who would never tell her coworkers what she spends on gaming, but then again, she brought up a good point. How much do some of her coworkers spend on their hobby, whether that be crafts, models, woodworking, knitting, cooking, bowling, etc. And that's not even touching on collectibles. I have a friend at work that collects rare bottles of scotch, and she spent way more on a bottle that will be consumed and gone than I have on some of my ships. Of course, you can argue that some things are more tangible than others, but anyway, people will always spend money on what makes them happy, so why judge? Alright, and so that is all for this video on Star Citizen and affordability for new players. I hope I answered all of a new player's questions on what and if they should spend on Star Citizen. If I haven't, feel free to check out my Discord where we answer questions for new players all the time and even help players, get accustomed to things in the verse. For anyone on the fence, I would just keep your eye on it. Watch streamers, watch the many well-produced weekly shows that come out from the game team. They sometimes hype things they shouldn't be hyping just yet, and they have failures that they have shown on there as well. Overall, though, it's a fun game to play and follow, and even when a new game catches my eye and I slip away for a bit, I do at least stay connected with the development because it's been a fun ride. Now I hope you all stay positive out there, and I will see you out in the verse. Take care.